Well, welcome everybody. I just put the agenda in the chat. I think I don't have any announcements, but we can start with kind of going around and getting brief updates from all the teams. Um, on my list, that would start with Alan. Hey, Alan, do you have any updates from the last month for us?
Yeah, update is from the last hour. We just met about an hour ago with Jawad to talk about the work we've been doing with Crow and how we can start to hopefully integrate it into Gen3 admin. So a very short initial conversation, but sounds very promising. So we're going to be working a little bit more closely together. And I think Jawad suggested possibly in like a more public channel, possibly in Slack, so that others who are interested can join the conversation.
That sounds great. Sarah, if you have a free hand, can you post a link to the CSOC working group channel? Um,
Absolutely.
We do have a Slack channel, which is very underutilized. So we'll post the link for you, Alan and Jawad, but also for everybody to use. Cool. All right. Then back to Mir. Do you have any updates for what your group has been up to of interest?
Um, no specific updates yet, but yeah, for now.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks. That sounds fine. And then we have um, University of Auckland. I guess that's Claire, Matt, and Carvin. I think that's all. You guys are all
Yep.
one
Yep.
group,
All
right?
you are. Yep. Yeah. Thank you.
And it
Yeah.
is
So I think
University of Auckland now, right? I should be referring to you as that, correct?
yes. Yep. Should be
Okay.
universal. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we'll share our updates with, or Carvin will kindly share our updates with the observability. That's sort of been our big push recently. So he'll share that in a few minutes' time.
Okay. Nice. Thanks. That sounds good. Um, so Donna and Steven, I don't know if you've joined this meeting before. Do you want to introduce yourselves quickly from OCC?
Sure, absolutely. Hi, everyone. Donna Elbers, Director of Data Science for OCC. Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Stefan Dranger, a developer here at OCC as well.
Awesome. And for those of you keeping track, Plum is from OCC and he's been at these meetings before, but I think I don't know if he'll still be attending, but at least we have Donna and Stefan now too. Um, Stefan, do you want to give any update now? I know you're like formally on the agenda. Do you want to wait 5 minutes and we'll do a brief update then, or you could do it now? It's up to
I
you.
could do it now. I apologize ahead of time. I had some dental work and my tongue is hurting a lot, so it'd be weird to talk. But I've been working with OCC has been working with Crumbware to develop sort of tools to help get Gen3 Commons sort of up and running, taking into account especially sort of working with AWS and also how OCC has typically spun up Commons in the past, which is, sort of typically one per account. But we want to have a way to like keep track of all of it, as well as start new ones in the future. So we're working with Crumbware. Basically, they have developed a sort of Terraform structure, and Terraform is uh, a piece of software that basically will do it will create infrastructure for you. Um, it can doesn't have to be AWS, but we're using it right now with AWS. And what we're using that for is to make to use this product called Rancher. It's an open source product, and basically it can keep track of and maintain multiple Kubernetes uh, installations. And we're taking advantage of Gen3's new Helm charts to make sure that each of these clusters basically has its own Gen3. Um, and I can share a little bit of my screen here. So here we have sort of the first two ones here. Right now, this is the development one. This is the cluster that Crumware had created uh, to help work with MC2DP. Um, and we can see sort of all of the workloads here involved in Gen3 in this cluster. This sort of gives us sort of a view of every of the commons. And then this wind tunnel one, this is one that I'm using to test to then test what they've worked on to see to basically run it through its paces and make sure that we can create, more than one commons, in multiple locations. And um, this is sort of looking at this from a Kubernetes point of view. But this is just sort of a quick overview and sort of a preview of what we're working on. Hopefully that should give you a good high level view of the project.
Awesome. Thanks, Stefan. Is that code publicly available anywhere, or will it be?
The Crumware code um, is not publicly available at the moment. I'm not sure what the future of it specifically is going to be. Um, but I do know that they've built it out so that there's a general Terraform plugin that you can use, and then in turn you can create your own um, repository that will use that plugin, and you just need to set up a certain number um, pieces of information around it that will then use the plugin to set up Gen3. And then that in turn uses a Argo CI/CD structure to look at a repository to maintain things like the all of the YAML files that configure Gen3, and it'll update as you update those, it'll automatically update your cluster and keep things going that way.
Okay,
Uh,
go ahead.
So some of the Crumware code is open source and some isn't. Last time we heard it was all supposed to be open source. Has it changed or did I misunderstand?
I don't
Yeah.
sorry, Stefan, if you don't mind. I don't think this has changed at all, and that's still our plan, of course, but we're currently in the testing mode of it all.
Okay.
Where it's QC'd enough to lift it to
Oh, okay. Makes perfect sense. Thank you, Donna. Thanks for
Sorry,
the
I
clarification.
just didn't know. My apologies.
Oh, yeah, you're fine.
No problem. No problem. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions for Stefan or OCC on the work they've been doing? Well, it's great to see a little hint of it. I know we had talked maybe having a more full-fledged presentation in a little bit. So I'll I'll hold you to that. I'll bring that up again.
And hopefully we'll be further along as well and be able to show more.
Okay, cool.
Question. Are you guys still using EKS or are you using like Rancher managed Kubernetes?
It is Rancher controlled, although Rancher may the short answer is both. So it is using EKS in AWS, and Rancher can control those things. So yes.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, I think last group is Australia Biocommons. Nagasri, do you have any updates for the group you want to share?
There is no major updates, but yeah, we are in our environment, we are trying to enable the discovery page, and like right now, which is in the MVP state. Yeah, we are trying to implement this front-end framework features in our end. That's
Got it. Okay. All right. Then I think we can just get to the agenda unless anybody else has any announcements they want to make. Okay. Um, Jawad, you were up first. I guess we thought we'd do a more general presentation on observability, and then we'll cut over to you, Carvin, to give an update on what your team's been working on.
Yeah, for sure. I don't have much new stuff, but I can go over a little bit what we are doing for observability on our end, and how that'll like shape and be built into the admin portal as we keep building into it. So I don't have any might be able to show some things basically. So as you all know, like we use Grafana for our observability. So Grafana sits in the centralized CSOC cluster. And although this diagram is for something else completely, it's just happened to be on my screen. But from all of the other clusters that we have like VPC peering, and over that VPC peering, we send all the logs and metrics into the Grafana and the centralized cluster. We are hoping to be able to like build on top of, or we are building on top of Grafana to build in certain features for logs and metrics views. Yeah. So when it comes to observability, we also have a few dashboards. I believe they're open sourced as well. So you can, I'm trying to not show something that I'm not supposed to show, but like we have the download requests and logins. So this dashboard shows you all like the amount of downloads and requests that you had on your comments and the amount of logins. This is the one that I was showing earlier. I might have to stop sharing just so I don't show something that I'm not supposed to. Actually, my VPN is disconnected, so it will not load. Let me reconnect to my VPN. Yeah. Okay. So this one, if we show, for example, QA environment, you can see like all of the requests that are being made and their like status codes, who's making that, and basically how long it took to get a response. This is really good if you want to like quickly troubleshoot. Now, on top of this one, you can like we've also tried to build this into the Gen3 admin portal. So this is the home view that you have when you basically have selected and installed one environment. And what we were looking at in this view was for QA Prometheus, and this is also QA Prometheus. It's just maybe the time frame might be a little off. So if we try to expand this, yeah. So here, like you should be able. This might be another issue. Not with the portal, but with my, actually it should work. Yeah, here we go. So here you can see like how many nodes you have, how many pods are running in your namespace, what's the CPU and memory usages. I think we showed a little bit of this last time. This is building on top of that other dashboard that we were just seeing. So you can see at a glance, like which endpoints are being hit really like in the last time frame here. You can see like what the response codes are. Like if you see a lot of 500s here, for example, that would indicate that something is wrong in your comments. So basically giving you at a glance view of the health of your specific deployment. So this is for one of our QA environments. And then this is another view that was built out by the Google Summer of Code intern. Here you can sort of see like if you have any services that are not healthy. And yeah, and we also have a few views for the CPU and memory, which I guess is these ones. There was another one as well, but it's not showing up now, which gives you a graph. But you get a usage graph of like which of your pods are consuming how much resources. So if a pod is misbehaving, whether it's a Gen3 pod or any other one, you should be able to spot it really quickly from this overview. And this is all like built on top of the Grafana. So the Gen3 admin is basically querying all of the Grafana stack. And then each cluster and each service is basically sending via an agent here all of the data back into that centralized Grafana service. The idea that we are currently working on, just as a preview for the next month's meeting, is the bootstrapping of everything. So you start locally. Either this is how do you say, ambitious, but it might just be a Docker thing. But some easy command to just get um, a version of Gen3 admin running locally so that you can bootstrap itself with a cluster in the cloud, so that the management or the CSOC cluster, along with Grafana and other tools, gets bootstrapped, and then we secure the access to the real admin portal once it's bootstrapped as well. So you can either whitelist your IP, or with mutual TLS, we're still gonna explore all of that. But yeah, that's sort of the short and sweet about like what we are doing for observability. In this view, I also want to put in those metrics that I was mentioning earlier, like how many logins you've had in a set time frame, how many downloads you've had, and maybe some other metrics that would be interesting to just showcase in a dashboard like this with an easy view. Yeah. Yeah, that was a short and sweet from our end. Not too many changes since last time, but yeah.
Great. Last time, yeah, I tried to play with admin tools, but I meet some authentication problem
Oh,
at the start.
yeah.
And I hope somebody can give me some guideline on that. I raise the questions on the Gen3 community Slack. Thank you. I think it's very helpful for the observability, and I'm trying to import those dashboard. Thank you.
All right, yeah. I think the Slack channel that Sarah shared can be perfect for just this kinds of discussion. Yeah, when we can use that, because then we can also be like, for anyone else running into that same issue, they'll be able to see it and hopefully work through it.
Were there any questions for Jawad?
Yeah. I might have a question for you guys. Like, are there any sort of metrics that you would like to see? I know, Bob, you're sometimes interested in like how many logins and downloads we have. So that's why I'm trying to build that in. But if we have any other types of metrics that you would like to see.
No, that's the most important, and that would really, really be helpful because that's how we're measured by many people. Thank you.
Jawad, I have a question.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to also in similar dashboard to see what, if they're not logged in, what kind of search terms users are putting in Discovery or Explorer if it's like open?
That is a good question. I have to see if we're capturing all that, and if we're not, we should be. I'm unsure whether or not that query gets like sent to our servers, or if it just stays in the browser and it's all like client side. But even if it is client side, there should be a way for us. Okay, so a while ago, we tried to replace Datadog real user monitoring with something called Grafana Pharaoh. And Grafana Pharaoh is a JavaScript SDK that sits in the client, and I believe it can capture custom events as well, where if we wanted to capture things that are happening in the browser and they're not being sent back to the server, we probably could. We still are using Grafana Pharaoh, although it didn't give us all the metrics that we were looking for. So we are still using Datadog real user monitoring for certain things. But I think this could give us that. If not, then I will look into some other ways to see, because I think that's a really good thing that we should capture to see like what are the users actually looking for. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
That's a good one. Thanks.
I have another questions on the metrics. Yeah. Oh, well, here the metrics of the fence pod. I can't find that metrics of the like such as Gen3 log in like that, I see that our dashboard use many of that kind of metric. And I enabled the metric of the fence and other subchart. I enable them, but I still cannot get those metrics. So my question is that a special come from the special image or not?
Shouldn't be. So there is maybe a fence configuration, but I believe we enabled it by default recently. Let me double check that. There might be a fence configuration you have to enable as well to export the Prometheus metrics. Let me.
Yeah, there's the metric, enable metric argument.
Yeah.
I checked them and I only find that.
And when you try to curl on the fence pod itself on /metrics, do you see metrics then?
Yes, I have other metrics, app equal to fence like that. But the Gen3 metric from fence, I cannot get it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's start a thread in that Slack channel about that as well, because I think that'll be helpful for more people and for me to get some more information about like how you guys are running things. I'm sure there's like something silly, but you're using Alloy, right? To scrape the metrics as well? Yeah.
Metric is Prometheus. Is Prometheus to scrape and remote write the metrics.
Okay. Yeah. We use Grafana Alloy, but it's the same concept. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the Grafana agent that sits there and basically scrapes all the metrics. Yeah. But yeah, let's start a thread. I think this would be helpful to get to the bottom of. Because they should be enabled by default now, I believe.
Okay. Jawad, anything else or anything for Jawad? I'm sure there'll be more things for Jawad. But so Carvin, do you have a presentation then, or to share some general updates in addition to?
Jawad, thanks for all that. That was very, very helpful. Thank you.
For sure.
Yes, we have a presentation, and Claire will start.
Yeah, do you want to
yeah.
share screen or do you want me to, Kevin?
You can share your screen first, I think.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, all good. I'm terrible with PowerPoint. We're in a bit of a transition with everything. So let me see if I've got this right, and then I can go into presenter mode, hopefully. Can you see the right screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is this is us in the new world. So we're now fully integrated into the University of Auckland. And I guess just briefly, the sort of the group NESI that we did work for was integrated into REANS, which is our National Research Network. But we've stayed behind at the University of Auckland. So there's sort of, I guess, that split happening, which affects, I guess, we're used to being part of a team that runs both the software layers and all the way down to the physical infrastructure. And that's now changing, and that separation is happening. So we sort of this new team is kind of working with a lot of our existing partnerships. So I guess we'll hopefully keep working with you, but keep working with the repositories and the Gen3 instances that we run. And also exploring much more into the AI sort of realm of things. But we will now, or at least are now running for the moment, all the software layers on what is now REANS infrastructure, and just working out, I guess, the layers of separation, which is always a fun game to go through of who should be responsible for what and what access at what level should we have. So that's happening at the moment. But yeah, just on our Gen3 observability, we have 2 production Gen3s that we run and 2 test Gen3s. And I'll hand over to Carvin to talk you through the sort of observability work that we've done. Do you want to share your screen now, Carvin?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Claire. Now, I'll demonstrate the observability we currently use. I think it is a broad-wide topic, and at present, we use the Grafana open source software stack, which can cover the application of observability, infrastructure observability, and the incident response management. We use Alloy and Prometheus to scrape the logs and the metrics and remote write to the observability centralized cluster. At present, I think what we use the most often is the infrastructure observability at the Kubernetes level. And we also explored how to use how to implement the application observability. Yeah, it's still ongoing. I have another question and the problem need to solve. And the most currently we use the monitoring, logging, and alerting. These functions used in our daily maintenance work. This diagram is the high-level structures. Currently, we have 4 Gen3 clusters, 2 projects. Each project has production and test cluster, totally 4 clusters. And these clusters use the Alloy and Prometheus remote write the logs and the metrics to the RNZ observability clusters, Loki and Mimir instances. And those data are stored in the object store in the OpenStack cloud. And we work as a organization administrator to log into the Grafana to manage our data sources, dashboards, and alerts. Because Grafana has a function to isolate those resources by different organizations. Yeah, this is what we currently use, and I was involved in the deploying of the Lazy Grafana stack observability cluster, and now I'm very delighted to use it as a tenant. Okay, next I will demo some functions, demo the systems in the real system. Yeah. Okay, this is Grafana UI, and you can see that my account has two organizations roles. I'm as an editor of the NACI and as the admin of our UADII teams. I can manage the users' data sources, dashboard, and alerts under my organizations. Yeah. In an open source version, each user has three kind of roles: viewer, editor, and admin. And the editor can play with the data source. If your role is editor, you can explore all the data sources. This is the permission open source version. It's different with enterprise version, the cloud version. At those version, it can control, manage the data source permission per users, not for only per roles. But open source version is also good enough for our small team to run it, I think. Okay, after in the Grafana, we can create and manage our data source. You can see that we have Prometheus data source and Loki data source. We have 8 for each cluster has 1 Prometheus and 1 Loki data source. Yeah. And yeah, because the Grafana use multi-tenant, when you create the data source, you just put the org ID into the header, you will retrieve the correct data. Yeah. After you have those data sources, you can create and import dashboard. Here you can see we have 4 different folders. For each folder, you can set the permission of those folder, which team, which user, and which role can access it for the folder. And for each dashboard, you also can set the permission. So I think this permission for the dashboard and for the dashboard is good enough here. Let's have a look at some dashboard. Okay, the Kubernetes metric dashboard is a global view to all the clusters Kubernetes metrics. We can monitor the clusters CPU and the RAM usage and the total usage of the request limit. And also you can summarize by namespace and by nodes. And you can select different time range to statistics this data. And you can also switch between different clusters. This is the global view, and we can also monitor the containers, CPU, and the memory usage. And here we have another important metric. This is the usage request ratio. I think this percentage is closely related to the performance of the system. When the usage is request percentage is very high, more than 80, nearly or more than 100, the user will feel some frozen or the system has no response like that. So this monitoring is very useful for the performer to improve the performance. This is another dashboard, and we also monitor the volumes. If the volume, the volumes usage, sometimes the more volumes, maybe the space is not enough, it will impact the system. So to monitor it, it's valuable. And we also have the HTTP and the certificate check dashboard. Here we monitored all of our website, Gen3 website, and it will give the certificate expire time and the connection status, HTTP connection status. And here we can see that I have imported some our Gen3 dashboard that's come from the our Gen3 Helm chart. Yeah. And this dashboard can work. We can know some traffic status. And here, what I just now I mentioned is about if I want to have a look at the Google login, because our system is integrated with Google, so I want to check the Google login, but still there are always no data. And if we check the query, we can see that it uses the Gen3 fence login total metric, but I cannot get it. Even I enabled the metric of the fence. So that's my question. Okay, let's have a look at another log dashboard. I think it's very useful for debugging your system. Yeah, this is a log dashboard, and you can monitor the logs of by namespace and by port. You can see that in the cluster we have so many namespace, and now I'm monitoring AEDR prod namespace, and you can also select filter the port logs. Yeah, and you can also use keyword search. Yeah, last 30 minutes have no record of my name related. Okay, in the last 12 hours, you can see that, yeah, this is the log of my login. I logged in, use my email, and we can see the logs contact. Yeah. And I think this is very useful. And this number is how many record it hit. That's yeah. All these dashboard are from the Grafana public dashboard. Yeah. And this is a dashboard. After the dashboard, we have another important function is alert. We want, if when the CPU usage is exceeded, we should have some alerts, and we create many alerts and to monitoring the usage, CPU memory usage, and the certificate check and the HTTP connections. If it is triggered, it will send the message to our Slack. Now we integrate it with Slack. This is another system, the next system integrate with email. Okay, we can have a look at our Slack. In the Slack, we can see every day we can, in the morning, we will check this message to see what's the alert. You can see that this morning the fence, okay, the fence container has a highly usage, and now it's solved. And in the another system, yeah, in Rakura we can see that it's alerts the certificate will expire in how many days. And those alerts will, by default, it will repeat every 4 hours if it is not resolved. If it is resolved, it will raise another resolved message to you. This is alert. Yeah, we have many alerts covered the mostly the observer the infrastructure observability. For the applications, we have also created some alerts from our Gen3 Helm chart. These alerts come from the Gen3 Helm chart. I imported it here to here. And okay, about the, I won't display to show the details of the configuration. Okay, I think the time is on. That's my demo. Any questions?
That was really nice and really comprehensive. Some things that we are also running alerts on is user sync failures. That would be nice to have. Like you can see if like the user sync job failed because you don't want that to fail. Yeah, but I'd be curious to see like how you've set up some of those other alerts, especially where you're getting the data for the memory usage and everything. You mentioned you have Prometheus as the transmitter instead of Alloy
Yes.
for the metrics.
Yes.
Is that the old prompt tail agent, or like do you use another agent to do that?
No, it's just the Prometheus will script the metric and remote write to the Mimia in Mimia. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. So you're actually running a Prometheus instance that does the scraping for you and then sends it to Mimir.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Yeah. Because we do it all in with the Alloy agent. Yeah. Anyway, that was kind of cool to see. Yeah. Can you drill into one of those metrics to see like if you hit explore on one of them to see like what is the source? The dashboard.
Yes, I can show you the data source configurations. Actually, because this Grafana instance is running on the in the observability cluster, so the data source also always also uses the internal
Yeah.
address URL, internal URL. Yeah, I think we can also build our own Grafana and create a data source remotely. But that need more authentication. Currently, it uses the basic authentication.
Really cool.
Mhm.
I had a maybe naive question, but I don't know. Is there a way for others to share some configuration files, or how can this be kind of shared with the community outside of this video, if you are ready to do that? I just don't know the format for how to do that.
Yeah, currently this configuration, we haven't organized all the configuration to code. Yeah, we created it in Grafana and we backup it, backup the database. And it's our plan to use Terraform or just the YAML file to uh, collect all the configurations. But I think the observability subchart in the Gen3 Helm chart, that is a good example for the configurations. But for in reality use, you can see that we have many configurations, have tens of alerts and many data sources. So I think that configuration file will be very bigger, very big. And you can see each alert rules, we use the contact point. It has its own configurations. And or we use the notification template to generate the alert message. All those are configurations. If we want all those as code, it's a big work, I think. Yeah.
I guess the best solution is if somebody sees something that interests, they should reach out to you to ask a question on how to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Sarah has her hand up. Let's see.
Yeah. I think what you said was that the open source Grafana has different settings than enterprise Grafana. Is that right?
Yes. It's the authorization is different. Yeah.
Is that the
At
primary?
least.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that the primary difference, the method of authorization?
No, not method, but the gradient, I think. Just as I just mentioned, the open source Grafana, you cannot control the data source permission to users. You can only control the data source permission to roles. The any roles, the role of the editor and admin role can manipulate the data source, explore the data source. But in enterprise, you can set this user or that user can use the different data sources. That is a different authorization. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
And actually, maybe a question for Jawad. Are we using enterprise Grafana at CTDS or are we using open
We're
source?
using the open source one. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're using open source. I don't know if that came through, but yeah.
Thanks. I was just curious.
Oh, sorry, I've been talking to myself. Were there any other questions for Carvin and team? That was really a nice presentation of all that you've set up, Carvin. Okay, great. All right, so I think that's all we had planned for today. Stefan and Donna, we can talk offline, but do you think you're ready for a larger presentation in a month?
I think so.
Okay. Cool. That'd be great to see. Does anybody else on the call have any other topics they want to cover today? Cool. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks to Jawad and Carvin and Stefan for the presentations, and we'll